Recording in progress.
Good evening. I'd like to call the East Cocalico Board of Supervisors meeting for Thursday, November 18th to order. Please stand and pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would ask that everyone please double check cell phones, electronic devices. Please make sure they're either on vibrate or they're off during the meeting. This meeting was duly advertised in accordance with the second-class township code in the Lancaster newspaper on December 23rd of 2020. The meeting for tonight was also duly advertised in accordance with the second-class township code in the November 1st Lancaster newspaper. The hearing for tonight was duly advertised in accordance with the second-class township code in the October 24th, 21st, and 27th Lancaster newspaper. Before we go on, I would like to just state a couple of things here, so please bear with me. Since our meeting's out of sync with last Thursday's Veterans Day, I wanted to break with our agenda just for a moment to honor all the brave men and women who have served and are currently serving our country. For years, we've had a poem in our house hanging, actually it's framed and it's on the wall, and I'd like to read that poem to you. The poem reads, quote, it's by Charles M. Province, quote, it is the soldier, not the minister, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the soldier, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the soldier, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom of protest. It is the soldier, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag, end quote. For all the veterans that have given us the freedoms we enjoy today, I can't sincerely express enough thank you. Okay, I will now turn the meeting over to the East Cocalico Township Solicitor, Tom Goodman.
Good evening. My name is Tom Goodman, and this is a public hearing for rezoning. At this point in time, I'm going to turn proceedings over to the developer's attorney, Claudia Shank of McNeese, Wallace, and Norrick. She's going to have a little presentation.
Thank you, Tom. I just want to start out by introducing the members of our development team. I'm here this evening on behalf of Wright Partners, LLC. I'm joined tonight by Bill Roundtree and Carl Wright, both of whom are with Wright Partners. Also, Ron Sakari with Snyder Sakari & Associates. He is our project engineer. And Jared Neal with Traffic Planning and Design, who is our traffic consultant. Before I get started, I have some packets of exhibits that I'd like to distribute. So if you turn to the first page in your exhibit packet, you'll see an aerial overview of the property that we're here to discuss this evening. That works fine as well, Mike. This is roughly 36 acres, and it's located north of the Turnpike and west of North Reading Road. For purposes of context, it is south of the township building and facilities. The property is zoned general commercial, so it's C1 zoning, and Wright Partners is the equitable owner of this property. The plan is to redevelop the property with a warehousing facility, and to include in the redevelopment the realignment of Hill Road to align with Pepperidge Farm Drive. In terms of the text amendment and the proposed rezoning that are before you this evening, the first page in your packet shows a proposed zoning map. The property is depicted on that page both in yellow and in blue. The portions of the property in blue are proposed to be rezoned to industrial from commercial, and a portion of the property's frontage along North Reading Road, which is depicted in yellow on the plan, and Mike has it now up on the screen as well, would remain in the general commercial zoning. There is also a text amendment that's before you this evening, in addition to the proposed rezoning, and that text amendment would do two things. First, it would clarify that warehousing and wholesale trade establishments are permitted by right in both the I-1 and the I-2 zoning districts. This, in our view, is really a clarification of the ordinance. Currently, you have a variety of manufacturing, storage, and wholesale uses that are permitted by right in the industrial zoning districts. However, wholesaling and warehousing is the special exception. So the purpose of making this use permitted by right is really a point of clarification to eliminate the ambiguity as to whether a storage use like the one that's proposed here would require that additional special exception relief. We are also asking to amend the zoning ordinance to allow for accessory vehicle parking in the C1 district on a very limited basis. As I previously indicated, we're proposing that a portion of this property would remain zoned C1, and we intend to use some of that commercial area for vehicle or truck parking. So this amendment would allow that within the C1 district only in circumstances where the property is split zoned and is being used for a manufacturing or warehousing facility. So again, very limited circumstances. There are landscaping and buffering requirements associated with that accessory parking use, and we did work with township staff and the township engineer to make sure that those landscaping requirements were robust enough to address their concerns. In terms of chronology for this project, we've been before the board on a number of occasions to discuss our plans with respect to this property. And I just want to sort of walk back through our process here with you this evening. So we began informally meeting with township staff even prior to Mr. Hession becoming the manager, and then with Mr. Hession when he assumed that role. We submitted our rezoning and text amendment petition in July 8th of this year. This board referred it out on July 15th. The petition was reviewed by the County Planning Commission on August 23rd. The Planning Commission recommended approval at that time. That same day, that evening, the Township Planning Commission also reviewed the petition and recommended approval. Since August, we've continued to meet with township staff and the township engineer, and those meetings have focused in particular on refining the proposed realignment of Hill Road, which is obviously a critical component of this project. If you turn to exhibits 2 and 3 in your packet, you'll see the proposed reconfiguration of Hill Road, and Mike, I believe those are the next 2 sheets in the electronic exhibit packet as well. So the first proposed realignment of Hill Road would require us to acquire some additional right-of-way from neighboring property owners. The second proposed alignment does not necessitate the acquisition of additional right-of-way. But this is the alignment that was discussed with the board at its meeting on November 4th, and is my understanding of the preference of township staff and the board to proceed with alignment generally configured as is shown on this plan. So we have discussed this extensively with township staff. It is planned to be a part of this project, and we anticipate that we will refine details relative to the Hill Road relocation as we proceed with land development, assuming that the rezoning requested tonight is approved. So at this point in time, I'm going to ask Mr. Sakari to come forward and walk you briefly through what is Exhibit 4 in your packet. It's a rendered site plan or concept plan. I'm going to emphasize for you, as I'm sure Mr. Sakari will as well, that this is very conceptual at this point in time, but we want to walk you through what one possible development option for this site might look like with the rezoning approved.
Thank you, Claudia. Again, my name is Ron Sakari from Snyder Sakari & Associates. We're the civil engineers for the project. And as Claudia noted, what's on the screen before you right now is a rendering of a conceptual site plan depicting a possible warehouse use on the property. As can be seen in this particular configuration, it's what we call a single-loaded facility in that there's docks on one side. In this case, it would face the turnpike. And let me step back just for context. At the lower, would be the southern, but the bottom of the picture is the turnpike. On the right-hand side is North Reading Road. So once again, we're showing a warehouse. This one's about a little shade over 300,000 square feet. The dock area on the southern side with trailer parking below it. Also a field of trailer parking to the east of the building. Car parking, vehicular parking shown on the northeastern corner of the site. Access will be from the intersection contemplated on North Reading Road as shown on the plan. And Claudia touched briefly on the potential Hill Road relocation that is shown on the plan also. Stormwater management facilities are shown conceptually, one in this area, another on the western side of the building, potentially more. Again, that would be ferreted out during a land development. All major utilities are available to the site. Traffic would circulate again from that intersection at North Reading Road into the site. We'd anticipate truck traffic coming around the building, accessing the docks, and then exiting. Car traffic coming in on a separate access point and bringing cars in for the folks who work there. Claudia briefly touched again on the landscaping, as we can, hopefully you can see. I know it's a little fuzzy on this display, but you know, we show landscaping interspersed within the property, but in particular, in an effort to buffer the North Reading Road corridor, we put a very aggressive buffering, a landscape buffer in that location with a berm that will that should block the view from North Reading Road into the site fairly effectively, and also the parking area that we mentioned for trailer storage earlier. So that's kind of a brief overview, kind of a 10,000-foot view of the project and a potential conceptual version of it. I would welcome any questions or comments that you may have.
That is really all that we have for the board tonight by way of a presentation. As I indicated at the beginning, you've seen this project before a number of times. If the rezoning and text amendment are approved, you will see it again a number of times as we proceed through land development. So the team is here. We're happy to answer any questions that you or that members of the public may have about the proposal.
Just curious, how many employees do you anticipate at the site?
I don't know if we have that granular level of detail at this point in time. We're still finalizing user for the site, so we wouldn't have that level of detail. But obviously, when we do our traffic study, we'll be using ITE calculations and so forth to determine the traffic that will be attributable to the site.
I have a total question. Not really a total question. You have another slide that shows the back end of the property.
Can I have your name for the record, please?
Name is Ralph Buckles, resident of East Cocalico Township, not serving as a planning board member.
So I don't think that we have an, and I don't know what view you're looking for in terms of the back, when you refer to the back end of the property, are you talking about further west from what's depicted?
I am.
I don't think that we have a plan here that shows that. Perhaps the existing conditions plan, Mike, if you're able to pull that up.
I don't know, was it this one you may be considering?
Right, there's the perspective.
No, not the cross section.
Not,
It's the full, you want the full site.
yes, that is there. Keep scrolling.
There you go. Yes.
Okay. Just for definition, because the people at the table may have seen this package before, but the residents may not realize that there is a back-end piece that is also part of it.
And that is absolutely correct. There's no development that's proposed on that part of the property. It's sort of bisected from the majority of the site by a wetland stream area, but that's absolutely correct. That's included as well.
So your intent at this point is no development on that western end?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So I have the building area then it's exactly 306,249 square feet.
That's what we're showing on the concept plan at this time. By no means the final design, but that's approximately what we're anticipating.
Doug Mackley, resident of East Cocalico. Claudia, you mentioned that there's going to be, I shouldn't say going to be, but if this goes through, it would permit you to do warehousing and wholesaling.
That's correct.
So I'm going to ask, and I won't get an answer, I realize that, but I'm going to ask a question because it's public record. Is this thing in any way, shape, or form, is Pepperidge Farm associated with this?
So that is one potential user that we're talking to. We do not have anything finalized at this point in time, but that is a possible user.
Okay, and having to do with the rezoning, I'm just going to direct this question to the board. How many acres in the township are zoned the way they want to do this? Do we know? Roughly. Yeah, you're going from general commercial to light industrial. I know there's light industrial in the township.
No, I don't have that figure.
Your
Okay,
question
so
is, where is high industrial?
What? Light.
Like,
Light, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
light industrial.
so how many other areas are light industrial?
I have to have a zoning map.
So if Pepperidge Farm is in the mix, I guess my question would be, 95% of the property that they're on right now is owned light industrial. Why wouldn't they build a warehouse on their own property?
I can't
I
answer
know
that.
you can't answer, I realize that, I just want it on the record.
And I just want to be clear, the proposal is to rezone, is it 33.989 acres?
That's correct. So there's that small portion that would remain general commercial. It's not the entire tract that's included in the rezoning.
Right, there's 33.989 acres.
That is correct.
Any other questions? Great. Is there any other questions? Yes.
Excuse me, Susie Mackley. This is a conceptual drawing, you said.
That's correct.
However, can we zero in that it is only going to be this 300,000 square foot building?
That's the plan at this point in time. Again, the reason we're couching it as conceptual is because the design has not been finalized. We haven't fully engineered what this is going to look like at this point in time, and we wouldn't do that until we get through rezoning. So this is what we're anticipating. This is our best guess at this point in time. And obviously, we would have to comply with all of the requirements of your subdivision and land development ordinance, as well as your zoning ordinance, in terms of building this property out.
And the 300,000 square foot is going to be basically just warehousing?
That's
Because you did speak to wholesale.
warehousing is what's anticipated.
And that's about, if I did my math right, 6.5 acres under roof? 6.5, 7?
That's a question for Mr. Sakari.
Well, 45,000
Sure.
an acre.
Yeah.
Or so.
300,000.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So you originally said 36 acres, but Tom just said about 33.
Yeah, so the property itself is 36 acres. We're only rezoning 33 acres of it because a portion along North Reading Road would remain commercial.
So it's a lot of acres left for 6, 7 acres.
What she's not calculating in is the rest of the asphalt that goes around the building
Right.
for the 300,000. I'll rest to Mr. Sakari.
Do you have any estimate on the amount of asphalt? How many acres?
I don't know if Mr. Sakari would have that at this point in time. We'd have to comply with the maximum impervious coverage regulations in the zoning ordinance, so there are standards.
We're far below the maximum. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's much lower than what was permitted.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, for the board. So I think it would be good for the board to know just how many acres we have in the township right now on general commercial versus light industrial. I think that should be a huge factor.
We can get that. We can look into that.
I'm just wondering, Brett, would you have any idea based off,
I'm not going, Brent Lee, Township, planning engineer, record engineer. I'm not going to identify an exact acreage, but it would not take me long to briefly highlight what's available as far as general commercial or other commercial opportunities. If you start at the Adamstown port, most of the commercial opportunities obviously are along the 272 corridor. There are smaller commercial properties adjacent to Adamstown Borough as you proceed towards into East Cocalico Township towards 897 intersection. Those are smaller lots on the we'll call it the eastern side, southeastern side of the road. As you proceed onward, there's opportunities at Muddy Creek, and every site, as many engineers and land planning people say, a lot of the easy sites are developed, so there are always issues with remaining sites, whether it be topographic issues, environmental issues, all kinds of other opportunities for challenges as part of development. But there's a property adjacent to North Muddy Creek Road, which would be commercial. There's the intersection of North and South Muddy Creek Road and 272. There's the, I'll call it the lot associated with the church at the corner there, opposite Old Valley Antiques. There's a pad site for general commercial that was developed as part of the Zia Maria's site that is currently undeveloped and looking for opportunities for future development. There's a pad site on the south side of the Zia Maria property that's undeveloped in the general commercial zone. There's the Turnpike property off of Colonel Howard in 272, which is approximately 10 acres, has a stream tributary to it, and was previously considered for commercial development. There's all the various parcels that make up the Fenderson tract, which would have commercial opportunities. And then as you proceed south further from, I'll identify it as locker room mini storage units, from there to Kurtz Road, there's various properties on the northwest side of 272 that are general commercial and currently undeveloped between Kurtz Road and locker room mini storage. And then, while it may not be relevant to this immediate area, as far as this portion of the township, as you proceed further south, you'd have a parcel at the corner of West Church Street, in the vicinity of Eagle Rental, and a narrower strip on the west side that's also general commercial. And then proceeding on, you have properties adjacent to Two Cousins and Cocalico Creek Road, and proceeding through Pouts Road, there's other commercial opportunities on both sides there. So, and then out opposite the car dealership on Garden Spot, adjacent Garden Spot Road, is another strip of undeveloped commercial land. So that's a brief highlight of current general commercial areas that are more or less undeveloped with respect to commercial. There's obviously other opportunities for redeveloping properties to enhance commercial opportunities. I didn't mention, I failed to mention the property, maybe go back to the other exhibit for this project, and immediately adjacent to the proposed access drive and signalized intersection would be a commercial property adjacent to Hill Road, between Hill Road and the new road that's currently for sale and general commercial and marketed for commercial uses, which will likely get a significant boost of interest depending if this project were to proceed at a signalized intersection and go immediately adjacent to that property. So.
Yes, sir.
One of the questions that I asked this team in a different meeting, which is not surface, that I thought was a benefit to the township, was, and help me get this right, Madam Attorney, is what is the change from the current zoning of the bulk of that property? That's for the warehousing and for the, what was the other piece?
Warehousing and wholesaling is the
Right.
term under your ordinance, but warehousing is what we're proposing.
And that's tied to an industrial zoning, correct?
Correct.
My question that I had asked this team in the previous meeting, and I liked the response, was where else do we have industrial property? Just like Brent went through where's the commercial, and he outlined it in a stretch. I went through and said, where's the industrial property, and how is you all's change going to help us, the community, in the future? And it seemed like, and Brent turned me up here, because you were sitting in the same session, the industrial property was south of the turnpike, and it went from the retirement property right adjacent to the turnpike, all the way, kind of wraps in a crescent, all the way around where high concrete is. Now, I'm not quite sure how far around it goes, but all that property, I believe, is industrial, and it is open for development because of the sale of the farm, etc. So to me, I felt the requested change of Black Horse team would benefit us as a community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would point out too, just in terms of the realignment of the Hill Road intersection, I think that's another benefit of this project. That has been something that's been identified on the township's transportation improvement plan for some time. So it is not just something that this development team came up with, but it's really an opportunity for the developer to work with the township to achieve something that has been a goal of the township.
I wanted to point one other thing out. As part of the text amendment was allowing the use that she identified to be a permitted use. It should be noted that currently, as it's identified as a special exception use, it had certain criteria to follow. Those criteria are following it to the permitted use category, so there is no change in standards that would be applicable to the warehouse use. So that's probably worth noting as part of the meeting.
Another question, Doug Macklin. The gas station, is that part of this project?
It is not.
Is there going to be pass-through for the traffic to go from the gas station into this project?
Ron, could you speak to how?
I mean, it's possible at this point, you know, the traffic improvements, as part of the traffic impact study haven't been finalized. There's an opportunity to make a connection. We don't know yet if that's actually what's going to happen.
We don't own or control that property,
Right.
so we have to deal with that property owner in deciding what connectivity, if any, there would be.
From a township standpoint, I can speak to some of that. I think it's also worth noting that along with all the other efforts that they've identified that they've been taking relative to the project, they have also initiated discussion with PennDOT, which is a vital aspect of any proposed access onto 272, and especially that involves the signalized intersection. So they have initiated those discussions, and that process has started. So that helps to respond to your question in terms of as some of those play out, as the project develops, PennDOT requirements, the intersection design, and this is all assuming the project is the zoning advance. All those details would need to be addressed, and as part of that, through both township requirements and PennDOT requirements, there are provisions for access management and maximizing opportunities for shared access to try to get as many properties to have safe access to an intersection, a signalized intersection, and address any other issues. So I think the simple answer is there graphically is something probably shown on some of these concepts. The details of that would have to be worked out later on. It also is probably worth mentioning from an access management standpoint that their proposal is to eliminate every existing access point along the frontage of their property, which I think totals, what, six or something like that. So from the bridge, the Turnpike Bridge, towards their access point, the land they control would have 0 access points onto 272 and would be more or less landscaping and address any pedestrian requirements the township imposes as part of the subdivision land development ordinance review.
Well, and I guess part of the reason I asked the question was, I don't frequent that gas station, so I don't know what they sell, but I don't think they sell diesel fuel, not yet. That's my point. If you're gonna put a pass-through there, you get a trucker that's loading fuel back at this warehouse, whatever you wanna call it, wholesale place. Is he gonna be able to come up there, and that gas station isn't very far off of 272 to get a big rig in there to fill it up. That's just a point to think about, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Want to make the appropriate motion?
Yeah. Gentlemen. Okay. I'd like to make the motion to adopt ordinance 2021-04, the East Cocalico Township 2003 zoning ordinance and official zoning map.
And I will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we close the hearing for the amendment of the East Cocalico Township 2003 zoning ordinance and official zoning map.
I will second it. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Okay, the meeting will now be turned over to the East Cocalico Township Board of Supervisors Chairman, R.C. Carrasco. Thanks again, Tom. Thank you. Okay, we had, since our last meeting, announcements for executive sessions. We did not hold an executive session since our last meeting. Moving on to past meeting minutes for approval. Gentlemen, any changes, corrections, alterations?
There's none from me.
I did not have any either. Craig, did you have
No,
any?
sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second that. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none. The motion carries. Thank you. Next item. Land planning engineer. Brett.
All right, I have two items, really simple items for the agenda tonight. First one is Village of East Cocalico. That is a residential development proposed adjacent to Quail Hollow off of South Twin Creek Road and adjacent to 222. The only action tonight will be they have provided time extension offer. The current deadline for action, as noted in the engineer's report, is November 20th, and they have submitted a written time extension that, if accepted, would extend the deadline for action on the phase or on the final plan until February 18th, 2022. So, assuming there's no other questions, the motion would be to accept the written time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant dated November 11th, 2021, which will extend the deadline for action on the Village of East Cocalico EC Associates final subdivision land development plan until February 18th, 2022.
Is there anyone representing?
I do not expect anybody.
Okay. And I will make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
And I will be abstaining on this as I did in the past.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? There's none opposed, one abstention. Motion carries.
Next item involves a stormwater management plan, the property at 395 Bones Hill Road. We had previously issued a review letter. The applicant or consultant are evaluating various aspects related to the layout of the site, sewer facilities, etc., and anticipate responding in the near future. Based on the current deadline for action of November 18th, 2021, the time extension offer submitted by the applicant's consultant, the appropriate motion would be to accept the written time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant dated November 2, 2021, which will extend the deadline for action on the 395 Bones Hill Road stormwater plan until February 17, 2022. I did not expect any vote.
Okay.
The previous one was till February 18th, this is February 17th. We won't
No, the deadline for action does not correspond with a meeting date. It just corresponds with a future date, a date in the future, and an appropriate action would be at the prior meeting, the meeting prior to that, so.
As they extend these timelines out, various developers,
Yep.
they're familiar with the relatively new law of the agenda and when that has to be posted and when they need to get their materials in.
Yeah, everybody's aware of current timelines for submissions, and
Okay.
I've not experienced and do not anticipate experiencing issues.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Brett. Okay, next item, police pension, police officers' pension contributions for 2022, Mike?
Yeah, the township had received a request from Steve Walsh, president of the East Cocalico Township Police Officers Association, that was received on September 27th, requesting the Board of Supervisors to consider either eliminating or significantly reducing police officers' pension contributions for 2022. The board has received that letter and can acknowledge the receipt of the letter as well and discuss that request. I know Mr. Walsh is here tonight in the audience. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add to your request as the board considers this.
No, sir, that's about it. Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what you're gonna decide tonight or not, but, you know, we've worked on this for maybe 3 years, that we've worked on fixing this pension issue. And I can say, in the past, the association has worked for about 20 years to try to get someone to listen to it. So I appreciate in 2019 when you and Alan came to us and said we were going to create this committee to try to get this problem fixed. You know, Derek was in the meeting in 1999 with me where we knew there was problems. No one ever made an attempt to fix the problem, despite what we wanted to do. And Alan knows this as well. In 2014, Alan and I worked hard to bring a gentleman in to give a presentation to fix the pension. And at that time, 2 of the supervisors refused to even come to that meeting. We were told the pension wasn't an issue at that point. And I think since that point, taxpayers have paid about $3.4 million into the pension because of the faults and discrepancies. So like I said, I'm not sure what you guys are planning on doing, but I think the officers, and not to bore everybody, but we worked hard to fix this problem. We changed an ordinance for the township that we didn't have to change. In fact, we were told by
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you there. I apologize.
we changed an ordinance for the township, which we were told not to do by our solicitor. That ordinance saved the township about $170,000 a year.
When you say we changed the ordinance,
The police association worked with the township, but it was something that we had to
you
vote on.
didn't have a vote.
Correct, the township
Okay.
couldn't change it without us. You know, I'm not trying to stand here and be arrogant. We know when the township does well, we do well. When the township does poorly, we do poorly. We're not trying to hurt the township. We want the township to succeed. That's why we work with you guys on a lot of different things. I just think this is a time where, you know, we're 100% funded finally. It doesn't make sense taking money from the police ops at this point. Considering you're going to save about $650,000 off the MMO next year, I'm not sure what our $70,000 would contribute to that, but that's neither here nor there. I would just like you guys to consider at least letting us have our money. I don't know if you have any questions for this.
Just to clarify this point, the estimated member contribution for 2022 is about $74,491. In the past, it appears that the township has set this contribution rate by resolution, and generally it's happened sort of at the meeting at the end of the year when the budget was approved. The last one I saw was Resolution 2019-22, which set the contribution rate at 5% of the monthly compensation into the fund, and indicated this shall continue until such time the townships adopt a superseding resolution. So your discussion tonight will essentially give the final direction for the township to draw up that resolution, which will be considered at the December 2nd meeting as we consider the 2022 budget.
Let me make a couple of comments here because we've been so closely involved in this. The pension is fully funded. You have a handful of individuals, quite frankly, that when you see them out there, please thank them. I think we probably have, between all of us, thousands of hours invested in this thing over the last 3 years, and we're still monitoring, watching it. My notes are everywhere here, right, Judy? You know, again, I want to give some real kudos out to the committee, which is Chief Kepley, Officer Fisher, Officer Projan, Officer Walsh, Jill Corden, one of our residents who volunteered her time, myself, our township manager, and now Judy Loomis. So it's been a real collaborative effort. It's been an incredible effort. The amount of things we've gone through, the amount of models we've gone through, the actuarial results, the actuarial studies we've gone through and we're still going through. And I understand what you're saying and I appreciate that. Completely resonate with it and agree with it. What I think we'd like to do, what I would like to propose is we meet in the middle here and do a 2.5%. I'd like to make a motion to really do a 2.5% pension contribution for the officers and keep it at 2.5% here until we finish the next round of actuarial studies and see where we're at.
Which is, when is it? Is it 2 years? I don't know.
It's a 2-year cycle. We just finished.
This will be the year
This
that
is-
we do it this year.
This will be the year that we do it, so it'll be a 2-year cycle from here. So it keeps us on track with, keeps us in alignment with where we are with the
I guess my question would be, if you're already fully funded, what is that $35,000 or $37,000 going to? Especially since, like I said, there's a $650,000 cost to taxpayers this year. That's gone next year because the pension is. I assume you're not giving that money back to taxpayers, and I'm not being smart, but that money's going to go somewhere. What is my $35,000 going to? And what's the purpose of it? Especially since, like I said, I'm not trying to cause problems, but we made some concessions that we didn't have to do. I mean, the police officers, in good faith, hoping, you know, I guess hoping that this would, you know, solve the problem, but then also alleviate us. And I talked about, since 2014, taxpayers have paid about $3.4 million into the pension. That's a lot of money. The police officers paid about $500,000 into our money. And I'm not complaining. I get a pension when I retire. I'm not complaining. But, you know, now that we're 100% funded, it seems like that money should stay with us. And that's my opinion. Obviously self-serving.
Your contributions, your money as you call it, is always your money. Even if you stay only 1 year or you stay 21 years, your money is always your money. And so it's not like your money is used over here to help out
I understand
Hazel
that,
Road.
but I'm losing 2.5% if you agree to this.
You're not losing anything. Your money is going in your retirement plan. How's that a loss?
Correct, but my
What you-
retirement
what
plan
you
stays
want
the
to
same
gain.
whether I contribute 0 or 2.5%. My retirement plan stays the same. So you're taking 2.5% from me, and I'm not getting anything extra. I don't get an extra 2.5% when I retire because you took my 2.5%.
when you retire, your benefit will be based upon the formula that's in use at that time. Your money can be your money and you can roll it. But
I
it isn't
totally
like
understand.
lost to you.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, if the police department gives $0 this year into the pension plan, which was the practice in the past when the pension was solvent, the police officers paid 0 at that point. My point is, if I pay 2%, 4%, 5% into the pension this year, or 0%, I get the same when I retire. I don't get my pension plus the 2% I put in. You're taking my money and investing it. I'm not getting anything extra for that.
Yeah, the money is being invested for the benefit of the participants. I guess the question really comes down to, if you don't fund the 5%, it will be funded by taxpayers.
If there's I guess if there would be a discrepancy, right now we're 100% funded.
Your actuarial assumption was just lowered from 6.5% to 6%.
Correct.
And I voted for that. I thought that was a good idea. Your desire to have that 5% or 2.5% stay in your pocket is understandable, but it won't cease to be contributed.
I think the issue is, right now, the MMO for next year would be $201,000, right? And that's before the state aid, but that's also including $75,000 from the police officers to contribute. So if you take $180,000 state aid off, that's about $20,000. But then when you add that $75,000, if you were to do that full amount, then the township taxpayer would be paying $95,000 into it, as opposed to some shared cost of that.
And that's possible. I don't know what the numbers were. And that's fine. I'm just saying, once again, we got the pension to where it needed to be. It hasn't been like this since 2004. I guess I was expecting that we kind of helped the township get to this level. Maybe we could get something out of it, but that's...
Vividly remember 1999, 2000, 01, 02, 03, etc. Let me offer this, and it's not a change of the percentage, but currently, as I heard the participants of the committee, there are 4 participants in the pension plan who are on the committee. There is 1 fiduciary on the committee. I could not attend a meeting because I would have been the second supervisor in the room, and that would have been a violation. Mr. Mitchell could not attend a meeting. There are no minutes that I'm aware of taken of the meeting, and yet I'm expected to be a fiduciary of a retirement plan that I can't go to the meetings on and don't get a vote. And I'm like, I've never heard of this. Never, ever heard of that. And I would urge next year's board to advertise and to seek quarterly meetings, because I do think that the pension is absolutely important. I'm not a participant, as you know, in the pension that you guys are referring to. So there's nothing in it for or against me, okay? But it scares the heck out of me to know that I'm a fiduciary, to know that Jeff is a fiduciary, and because of the sunshine laws and the failure to advertise the pension as an open meeting, we can't attend, and there's not even any minutes to reflect. If there's a problem down the road, the standard is the prudent man theory. Well, the prudent man, no, it's not meant to be sexist, the prudent man actually goes to pension meetings or reads the minutes from the pension meetings. There aren't any. So I would urge the board next year to advertise the pension meetings. They're not personnel issues, because as you know, you don't discuss names or individuals, none of that, unless there would be someone seeking pension disability, which that can then be an executive session. But I appreciate that you did your research back 20 years ago. I do, I appreciate that. And I understand that the fund is where everyone likes it to be. I'm not, I'm not quite as bullish on the market as I may have been a few months ago. There's just a tremendous wall of worry and uncertainty. But as such, I will second the chairman's motion as the only fiduciary who was in the meeting, and it's his recommendation, am I correct, for the 2.5%? And so I will second his recommendation, his motion.
Just one point of order, one point of perception. The meetings always had township managers in attendance. Those township managers always took that information and circulated it to the rest of the board. The reports are out there, the copies are out there, so all that information is out there. So, yes, are there actual meeting minutes as in other meetings? There are not. All of that information, though, of course, is circulated throughout the board and the staff.
Well,
Do you get
let me clarify that a little bit. I understand it's there and it's available. So far this year, I personally have not seen a report yet from Gerard. I've heard you talk about the funding of the plan. I've heard the manager, but I have not seen a report from Gerard. I have not asked for it yet, or at all either, but so to Craig's point, I'm working a little bit on recommendations.
If you haven't asked for the report, then but the reports are all there, Jeff.
Okay.
Everything's available.
Whether it's Mike or Judy supplying it to me in a packet or something, it hasn't happened. So, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll take responsibility for that. That's fine.
No, it's a concern to me because the way this sounds is like maybe this board is trying to operate where there's no full disclosure or transparency as to what's going on. And that's not even close to accurate. But that's the impression you're laying right now that I absolutely will take exception to.
That's fine.
I had to ask for the reports. The last report I had was March 31st.
That's the report that I have.
Okay. There are monthly reports that come to the township. They go to the police department. They go to the participants. We're the fiduciaries. We're responsible.
Judy's getting those reports.
Judy's not a fiduciary. RC, Jeff, and Craig are fiduciaries.
When I want
You
to,
can't offload your fiduciary responsibility to anyone ever.
of course, but when I want to review those reports and look at those, I ask Judy for them and I review them and I hand them back.
Well, they're not, I mean, you gave me this one.
That's the summary,
Right.
yes.
First quarter. And I asked for the second and third quarter and found out that the participants received the results monthly. I would have thought that a copy would have been made and put in the mailboxes of the fiduciary. I truly would have expected that.
It was never asked.
It should have had to be asked.
Okay.
I mean, if you're the fiduciary.
Judy, from this
on the
point
plan-
forward, every single item, we copy both of them on.
Okay.
Please, hard copy would be good.
Thank you.
Most of them are electronic. That's a lot of paper.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
We'll work
Yes,
that
sir.
out.
make a comment as a member of the pension board.
Mhm.
I think, I need to say it openly and upfront. Whatever's decided, I benefit from, or don't benefit from. So my comment now, I need to be careful, but I need to make it known that whatever contributions, I follow what the contract or what is set by the Board of Supervisors. So I'm putting that out there right away. But the only thing I want to say is I think when you say pension board, I think it should be a pension advisory board. All we're doing is advising. We're not making any kind of votes. We're not making any kind of final decisions. In fact, the last meeting with Gerard, they gave us 4 scenarios. And I think the third scenario is one that was chosen, so we could take advantage of state aid. When I say take advantage, I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying we get the state aid. So I hope it's clear to everyone, and this is a clarification. It's not a pension board that's voting. It is simply a pension advisory committee that is then making recommendations.
And that's a great point, thank you, Chief. Again, we're not a board, we're an advisor, we are a committee. That's it, and that's why I've said this is a committee that was founded in 2018.
And you are a committee, chief, you're right. But when there are 4 times as many participants on that committee as there are fiduciaries on that committee, it puts the fiduciaries truly behind the 8 ball. And the fiduciaries should be doing their fiduciary duty, which is at the very least attending meetings, getting reports. Because you're right, the committee can't vote. When you all recommended to go from 6.5 to 6 on the actuarial assumption, that came to this board. And we voted to do that. But I voted based upon the recommendation of the only fiduciary who was there. But you cannot walk away, you cannot give up, you cannot delegate your fiduciary duties to anyone. As such, I think that they should be open so we don't violate sunshine law, but the fiduciaries can still attend.
Let me address one other point so the public understands this historically. When the committee was set up in 2018, the committee, it was agreed to, voted on as a board when it was set up to have those 4 officers, 1 supervisor, 1 volunteer from the community with an extensive background in financial accounting, and the township manager, as well as the financial administrator. That's how it was set up. That's the history behind why there are 4 participants in the plan. So if you want to change that mix, by all means, we can change it.
We have no objection to open meetings. I mean, I thought we were kind of very open for the whole process. And our goal is the same as your goal. Let's get this.
I believe that you believe. I do. But what we know is the sunshine law says 2 of us, 3 of us,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Can't be in that room.
No, I
Cannot be in
appreciate, I
that room.
appreciate that. I'm just saying going forward, I can't speak for everyone, but I don't think we have any objection if the whole board, I mean, I have no objection at all.
But legally, we can't be in that room together.
Yes,
in an open public meeting.
So there's,
Yeah, if you had an open public meeting.
that's a catch-22.
Yeah, it pretty much is a rock and a hard place.
It's a catch-22. It's a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think some of this stuff would have been open 20 years ago, we wouldn't have ever gotten this problem we had.
I would love to share some of this workload and this responsibility with both of you. Oh, I would love to. The amount of hours I spend on this monthly. But let me know legally how we can do that. We cannot do that.
Well, you advertise the meeting. You advertise the pension meeting as an open meeting.
So is that the wish of the board? I have no
Well-
problem with that. Going forward?
I don't know if you want to do it now or if you want to wait till January. Perhaps that should be a January. I mean, you want to.
Do it now, you open the can of worms.
It's not a can of worms. If you're a fiduciary and you're not going to meetings and there's no minutes to review and you vote blindly,
Well, Craig, I'm sorry, there's a lot of meetings I do not attend. I get the information, I am told what the results of those meetings are, and I'm making decisions based off that information. And that's what our job is as a committee. So I don't see the difference there.
you nor I set up this room tonight. We delegated that to someone. This is a hat that cannot legally be delegated to anyone.
Of course. That's why all the signatures on all these pension documents, they're mine. Mine. These are not delegated to anyone else.
Right.
Judy and I sit for hours looking at these documents, making sure the financials are correct, and making sure everything is absolutely correct, because my name's going out on it.
But when we move.
And that involves state money.
When we moved from 6.5% to 6% actuarial assumption, that was a full board decision.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And that was a full board decision based off of the analysis done by the committee and the recommendation by the committee. So if you want to participate in those meetings, feel free.
Well,
We can do that.
you know, I understand what you're
That's a separate item to this. Yes, sir.
I just would like to point out that an open meeting would be very well received by the officers. We've been asking that for probably 2 decades, helping us fix this pension. When we got together, we were probably 70-some% funded. When this committee started, and I don't think it's really appreciated how much work went into getting this thing 100% funded. It took a long time, a lot of effort, a lot of people donated a lot of their personal time to get this thing where it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I do understand, and I'm not being cocky, but I spent a dozen years as a fiduciary and a voting member of the Lancaster County Retirement Board. We grew that from 117 million to 250 million at the time I was there, paying out $1 million a month to retirees.
So you would be a good asset to have. I think that, I think we would love to have you on the team.
Well, I had asked twice in the last 4 years, and for some reason I never got a call back, but we'll let that just be in the past. Just let it go.
I'm going to say something else too, because I think it's important to say it. We're going to have these meetings as public meetings, not a problem. We're going to, absolutely, I agree with you. Let's get all of us involved. These meetings, I cancel my own meetings and my own business plans. They cost me money to attend. So when we have these meetings, they're going to be held during the day. Just so we're clear. Because during the day is when our advisors can come in, Gerard can come in, our plan administrators come in, and so on and so forth. So they will be held during the day. I know we have board members that don't like to have daytime meetings. But, and thank you for saying that, because you're absolutely right. I mean, there are, the amount of work that's in here. Okay, I've said my piece.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
You have a
Thank you.
motion. You have a motion.
Before you get into that, I just, from the manager then, although I participated in one of these so far since I've been here, the last thing I want to ever hear from the board is you guys aren't getting what you want to get. That's what we're here to do. So if we're all on board with opening that up, we will make sure it's opened up and everybody has the information. And you just need to take that action. We'll get it implemented because that's what we want to do. We're trying to do the right thing for what we're doing. We want to honor what people are putting into it, and we want to make good decisions. So I would like to kind of follow through with that so that we are all moving in that same direction. But I know you have a motion and a second on the floor.
Right, so let's take care of that motion first. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay, addressing the second item that we just brought up then, I will make a motion that the police pension meetings commencing when we have our next meeting, so that would be after today, that we have those as a advertised public meeting. All supervisors can be in attendance, and you have to be very, of course, careful what you say and how you say it in those meetings because of the sunshine laws.
Understood.
And you have a quorum.
Understood.
That's my motion. All in favor? A second? I'm sorry.
What effect you want? You lost me there.
So that would be effective today. Our next, we have not scheduled our next
Okay. Okay.
Committee meeting.
Okay.
We have not done that yet. So at the commencement of our next committee meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Motion and second. All in favor?
But for clarification purposes, there's nothing else scheduled currently, right?
That is correct. We have not scheduled our next review meeting.
And the idea of when the next one will be is
Our
First
schedule, we
quarter of
usually
next
wait till
year.
Gerard contacts us, and then we schedule around their
Well,
availability.
we actually do it both ways. I've called Ron and said, Ron, listen, it's time. It's been 3-4 months. We need to sit down and do a detailed analysis. So it kind of goes both ways.
But I know we kind of work around what they can do. or
Right.
What Ron can do.
Right, when they're in the area.
I think we hold one,
But the target,
the beginning of the year, recapping the past year.
right, but the target was always a quarterly meeting. So your next meeting, it could be quarterly.
first quarter.
Mhm.
Great. Great. It'll be nice informational experience for them.
You have it all?
I can ask questions. Yep.
Okay,
You didn't vote there.
motion and second.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carries. Okay, non-uniform pension plan, Mike.
Good. Next item on the agenda is discussion on action concerning the annual fee for the standard administrative services for the non-union plan. The current non-uniform pension plan has been reduced significantly with changes with staff and with people taking some assets out. I believe it might be down to about 97,000 in there. Is that about right? And the discussion was that the administrative fees that are assessed right now to that, which average about $4,000 a year on a regular year, a little bit more on a restatement year, currently are being deducted from the participating members' assets. And the goal would be to have those fees instead, those administrative fees that are standard fees, be paid for by the township, which as they are budgeted right now in the MMO, and which we are receiving compensation back from the state in regard to our state aid to cover those fees. And they are, again, the annual and auxiliary fees, not anything outside of the standard fee part for that process. So in order to do that, the township would need to authorize the chairperson of the Board of Supervisors to sign the sponsoring employer section on the addendum to TD Ameritrade Retirement Plan Exhibit A, standard services and fees for East Cocalico Township non-uniform pension plan document. This again would then take those fees that are assessed each year out of essentially the monies that we receive back in state aid as opposed to out of the assets of a smaller group of participants for the non-uniform plan. So that item is up for discussion and then action. The other component is because of the amount of those fees, when you compare that to a 93,000 roughly in assets, the township will be looking at possible changes to the administration of that plan, and that would have to come back to the board again to hit the time, determine if we can get those things done in a more cost-effective way by a different entity. So that's for something down the road. The item for tonight is the change, the authorization to sign that form through TD Ameritrade to have those fees no longer be pulled from the plan assets, but through township contribution, which would be funded by the state aid.
Okay, this is not part of the police pension committee.
Correct.
Yep, totally separate pension. Okay, what's the wish of the board?
There is a motion on the floor, not yet, right, Mike?
Right, the motion that the board can consider is a motion authorizing East Cocalico Township to pay all annual and ancillary fees for standard administrative services for the non-uniform pension plan, and to authorize the chairperson of the Board of Supervisors to sign the sponsoring employer section on the addendum to TD Ameritrade Retirement Plan Exhibit A, standard services and fees for the East Cocalico Township non-uniform pension plan document.
And I will make that motion as Mike read it.
We have a second.
I will second.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda, Recreation Board. We had a recent resignation.
Yeah, we recently appointed Mr. Brent Wilson to fill a vacancy on the rec board, and unfortunately, his situation has changed. We'll be moving out of the township probably within the next month or so, and in that regard, since he's will no longer be a township resident, will be resigning from the board. So just wanted to essentially have a motion for the board to accept the resignation of Brent Wilson from the Township's Recreation Board, and then hopefully we can start off the new year, we'll end this year pursuing a replacement, start off the new year with getting someone else appointed and to fill that board itself.
Move to accept.
Okay, and I will second that. Questions? Okay. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay, Mike, Mark report.
Yep. We talked in the past about the stormwater issue at 206 Reevestown Road. The township had contacted, there was actually a permit from DEP acquired in the past, and there had been planning to get this work done. There was a sample easement and maintenance agreement drawn up in 2020, but then that kind of sort of went on hold. There was no action. So I did reach out to Elvin Huber, the 140 Chapel View Drive, Reinholds, who owns that property at 206 North Reevestown Road, and submitted to him a revised copy of the easement and maintenance agreement. And essentially the revisions were just updating the township supervisors and changing from 2020 to 2021. Mr. Huber agreed, again, to continue his part of that. He took the agreement, had it signed and notarized, returned it to us. So we have included on our agenda tonight a motion to authorize the Board of Supervisors to execute the easement and maintenance agreement between East Cocalico Township and Elvin Huber, 140 Chapel View Drive, Reinhold, for the stormwater conveyance system improvements at the property located at 206 North Reevestown Road. Once this gets signed and gets recorded, the road department has already begun the process of gathering the materials, and Mr. Huber has his contractor ready to go, and we're hoping for a beginning of December timeframe to work on this and get this project completed. Any questions on what we're going to do? We discussed before at the previous meetings what we were going to look to do there. That hasn't changed since it was initially laid out with the permit. It just was, we really can't do it until you approve. He signed off on the agreement. This gets your approval, and then we get it recorded, and we can go ahead and get the work done.
Okay. Well, I will make that motion. Second, motion and second. Any questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries.
Next item is the action concerning the consideration to send a newspaper printer and add to the township website the 2022 township meeting calendar. There was a draft drawn up from Lisa, and the only revision or the only change which was discussed previously by the board was to reduce the number of early morning meetings to 2 for next year, and we've designated March 17th at 9 a.m. and the meeting on September 15th to happen at 9 a.m. We're trying to match those quarters that we had discussed at that time. So that's included in the meeting calendar, which will be sent to printer, the newspaper, and added to the township website following a motion from the board to approve the 2022 meeting calendar and authorize submitting it to the printer, newspaper, and adding to the township website.
I will make that motion as announced.
And I will second that. Any questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, and the motion carries.
Another real quick, small item is the 2022 winter newsletter has been drafted and is ready to be distributed. And I guess as in the past, the board will approve a motion to approve the 2022 winter newsletter and to send it to the printer. So I know everyone's seen a copy of it, and if you want to make that motion, we'll get that out, and then it'll be mailed to the community.
So moved. Approved.
I will second that.
Okay, motion and second. Any questions? Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, and that motion carries.
And then two quick other items, just, and there's no action with these, but at least right now, but just want to make sure we get on the radar. The Cocalico Regional Comprehensive Plan Update Committee continues to meet. The next meeting will be held by East Cocalico Township on Monday, December 6th at 7 p.m. At the Township building. And these meetings have been going around in the different municipalities, and we have representatives from the Planning Commission. RC's been there on behalf of the board. I've been attending for both East Cocalico and Denver Borough, and there's representatives from similar committees consisting of East Cocalico or West Cocalico, Adamstown Borough, Denver Borough, and the school district. And then there's a plan in place as these items tend to get worked out to eventually have a couple surveys that'll go electronically to the community so that the public will get a chance to weigh in and offer some direction on the update of that comp plan. So that meeting, we'll host the next one, but the public should be expecting to see something soon as we get into next year, and then you get a chance to add your comments and participate in that as well. The other item is we did receive a notice at the township that the county is looking for nominations for the Lancaster County Planning Commission members, and they're looking for the Northeast Planning area. So that includes our area here. The nominations must be made by a municipal official and they can be anyone who could be either elected official, a municipal manager, or a municipal planning commission member. So bringing this up, we want to get something down to them, that we can have it by December 15th. Maybe we could think about it over the next couple of weeks, but we've talked about trying to get a bigger presence down with the county and making sure that this important part of the county is well represented with all the opportunities and growth we have here in the township and how we're situated. Maybe this might be a good opportunity again to consider how we get a role in that regional planning so that we can look out for this part of the county. So nothing that we have to do tonight, obviously, but the notice just came in, so if the board would like to think of some, if there's anyone that you could think of, or if anyone in the public would want to be considered who would meet this, who would either serving on our planning commission or is an elected official, please let me know, and the board can consider it, and hopefully we can get some representation down at the county.
Question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mike, is there more information on the time commitments?
Yeah, well, actually they said, and they probably did this for a reason. You send the information down, and then they will forward to the nominee a brochure explaining the benefits and responsibilities, and then also asking them why you want to serve. So normally the planning commission meets, they meet monthly, and whether they have any work sessions, I don't know. I can try and find that out. But I think they look to maybe get the list of potential candidates, and then hopefully, once you're in that far, maybe you may not want to be sort of turned away by the commitment. So I'm sure there's going to be a time commitment. But how significant, I'll try to find out.
Like, it's actually, they actually have 2 a month, and they're Monday afternoons.
Sharon used to serve on that.
Oh, well, I was a staff member, yeah.
at
They're
the county.
twice a month, and I ballpark 3 o'clock. They may have changed it a little bit, just to give you an idea of when you need to be there.
You have a request in for me, Mr. Mike?
Probably not. So I will gather that additional information and make sure, if you're interested, Ralph, I will make sure I get that to you then.
Thank you.
And then lastly, at one of the last meetings, there was discussion about a previous look at the brake retarders, the Jake brakes, and looking into that. And I've been digging through. I haven't really found any information. I did go around and look at some other municipalities. I know in Denver Borough, and I talked to the chief about this as well, there was a discussion at the time to make these Jake brakes essentially illegal unless it was an emergency throughout the entire area. And then in some places they post in the main entrances coming in. And I didn't know whether, I know the township at one of the last meetings, there were some discussions on potential roads. I don't know if there really is a road in town that a trucker should be putting those on. If there's an emergency, then they're going to activate them no matter where they are, and the ordinance would allow that to happen. But did want to just say how the board felt about looking at, do we want to kind of continue to look at maybe doing this township-wide, and then we can post signs according to maybe areas that are very, the entrances, but also if we find that we have certain areas that are difficult. Or if the direction is, hey, let's not do that, let's look at trying to pinpoint these areas. That's going to take a little bit more time to try and get a specific street or sections of street narrowed down to have that posted. And I don't know how effective an ordinance would be if someone is coming into the community. If it would be more effective, they know that you can't put those on in the community as opposed to knowing you can't put them on for a 600-foot section of one street or something like that. So I'm going to continue to dig, but it may end up presenting sort of a more universal type of ordinance for consideration if we can't find anything else. And then we can pick away and see what may be the best places and the best way of accomplishing that. Did you have anything, Chief, you wanted to add there?
No, I mean, we talked about it, and, put it at every entrance may be difficult too, they're coming into the township to notify them, but it may be easier to do it that way and then just post it in the areas that we think it's needed. Even more specifically, like the thing that started this was East Church Street coming into Reamstown. That area, in my opinion, should be posted no matter which way you go. But I think if you post it for everywhere and then, or if you pass the ordinance for everywhere and then post it in those areas where we think it's the most misused, we can go from
question back here.
Yes, sir.
Mike, you're probably aware, but years ago, and I'm just helping out, years ago, there was a lawsuit on that. The guy put the sign, the township or whatever, put a sign up, no Jake brakes, and there was a lawsuit because it's a patent infringement. So they had to change it to brake retarders. That's why you always see that. We all call them Jake brakes, and that's what they are, but it's actually a brake retarder. That's what the signs have to say, or there was lawsuits.
Yeah, you're right. That's what the ordinance in Denver Borough says. I think it's just easier to explain it as that being what that was. But that's how the ordinance would be written, and that's how the sign would be. You're right, exactly right. That's how the sign would be.
Would that impact Route 222?
Sorry, say that.
Could that impact Route 222, State Road?
I don't think you can, but I'm not 100% sure.
And I would think from an impact end would be, are we going to have a police officer pulling a truck over 222?
Right. As someone who lives near 222,
oh, you would want
at night, the Jake brakes are running all hours of the night.
I totally took the wrong angle on that concern. So, I don't know, Chief, that one might be generally, they're more so on local or roads where you have people living closer to. Right. Yeah. We may have to look at the buffer requirements for 22 then, in that case. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, police department report, chief.
Good evening. I'll run through a few things. Go over the numbers for the month. Month of October, total calls were 642. 518 occurred in East and 124 occurred in Denver Borough. We have 14 reportable crashes in East. 5 of those had injuries, and 1 of those was a fatality on Route 222. I think it was October 30th. I do not believe the Berks County Coroner's Office has publicized any results of that, but drugs and alcohol were not by any means considered a factor in that crash. 25 non-reportable crashes within the township, and I'm hoping those numbers for the crashes don't go up, but it is wintertime, and unfortunately, I'm assuming at some point it's going to snow, so we would just ask everyone to slow down when that occurs. We are in the process this week of interviewing for new officer candidates. We had a total of 8 individuals that we're interviewing, and just to put it in perspective, we would have normally had previously probably approximately 20, 25 to interview. So things have changed in the current climate. We did do roving DUI patrol on October 29th, where 1 DUI arrest was made and 2 driving under suspension citations were issued. I believe another DUI patrol is coming up around the Thanksgiving holiday, and that's basically officers go out with the paid, their overtime is paid by grant money, and they're looking for impaired drivers. So on November 1st, a speed detail was conducted in South Reamstown Road. 13 citations were issued for speeding. Same day, 700 block of North 6th Street in Denver Borough, 13 citations were issued. November 3rd, the 400 block of Haunstown Road, 20 speeding citations and 2 other citations were issued. The 12th of November, the 200 block of East Lancaster Avenue in Denver Borough, 11 speeding citations. And the 14th of November, the 200 block of West Swartzville, 10 citations were issued that day. And we have several other speed details or aggressive driving details coming up before the end of the year. So I advise everyone, please slow down and follow the speed limit. Finally, once again this year, we are collecting toys as part of Cole's Toy Drive in honor of Cole Troop. Any new and unwrapped toys can be dropped off at the Township Building at the Police Department, at Riviera Pizza, Heck Construction, or the Cocalico High School or Middle School. And over the last 6 years, we've averaged probably 1,300 to 1,400 toys that we've taken to the local hospitals. Hershey Med, actually all the way down to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, Reading Hospital, Lancaster General. So that has kicked off again, and we would love for anyone to drop off toys at any of those places to help in that. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Okay, Sharon, Director of Community Development.
It's brief for this meeting, but I'll be adding more information as time goes on so that you can be more informed and up to date on various activities going on in the department. The first issue or item on the agenda, which is to appoint me as an alternate zoning officer, is to enable me to provide developers who are coming in the door with official zoning officer determinations, which currently only Ed Patton is really authorized to do, and also to include zoning reviews in the land development plan, subdivision plan reviews that I'll be doing that will go along with our engineers' reviews.
Okay, so I will make a motion to appoint Sharon Young, Director of Community Development, as an alternate zoning officer empowered to administer and enforce the zoning ordinance, Chapter 220 of the East Cocalico Township Code.
I will second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries.
Okay, the next item is that our stormwater management and earth disturbance ordinance discusses having an enforcement officer who is officially empowered to administer and enforce the ordinance. Tony had been appointed to this role, so this motion would give Ken McCray, our MS4 coordinator, the authority to administer and enforce the stormwater ordinance.
Okay.
Question?
Yes, sir.
How similar or dissimilar is this position with regard to mud as the Lancaster County mud cops? Is it the same thing? If there's mud in the street, do we call Lancaster County or do we call the township?
You want to grab that one, Ken?
Well, both entities have jurisdiction over that, so technically I guess it could be either.
Probably your best bet would be to call us locally, and then that way we could also engage the county. Hopefully the county will respond. I'm sure they respond to public, the conservation district responds to public, but you would hope they'd also at least call back and respond quickly to the municipality as well. So if you feel more comfortable contacting either one, but I would say call the township.
Usually when there are E&S concerns that are significant that need some action, I usually end up reporting those to the conservation district.
Right. I mean, but that call can come into you to,
Right.
to go down.
Yeah, report it to me and then I'll notify them so that they know too.
Yes, sir.
Marcy, is this a full-time position? Seriously?
No, it doesn't change Ken's role at all, which is part-time. We just want to make sure that he has the authority to enforce the ordinance.
That's fine,
It's
thank
a
you.
full-time position, I just don't get paid for it.
Thank you, Ken.
It's just the enforcement arm of that. Good. Thank you. Okay, so I'll make a motion to designate Ken McCray as MS4 coordinator as the stormwater management and earth disturbance ordinance enforcement officer empowered to administer and enforce the ordinance in accordance with township, in accordance with chapter 185 10F of the East Cocalico Township Code. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries.
And then the last item on my report, I was contacted by an individual at Landmark Homes who discovered that the maintenance bond that was posted for Stony Point Phase 2, the streets, was still in effect. Most of them have, as this one did, had an expiration date. They normally expire without formal action by a governing body, but this one, this bonding company required that formal action be taken by the Board of Supervisors. So that's what this motion is. As I noted, the 18 months expired back in March of 2020. Then Roadmaster Chris Flory and Casey Kirchner from Becker Engineering inspected the streets, sent an email to Landmark Homes stating that no issues were found, and that was the end of it. It was dropped until Landmark found out that it's still in effect.
So basically, they need a formal motion instead of just the email.
Right, because only the Board of Supervisors has the authority to, have a bond reduced or released. So the process is if you take action to authorize a release, I will write a letter to the bonding company. Well, I'll write a letter to Landmark and so that they can send it to the bonding company stating that you've authorized the release. That's the process with what I'll call performance bonds or letters of credit, but normally that's not the case with an actual maintenance bond.
Okay. So do you want to make that motion?
Oh. Okay, make a motion to authorize release of the maintenance bond number 800038530 commencing November 1st, 2018 by Stony Point LLC, guaranteeing maintenance of the Phase 2 streets for a period of 18 months, based on the Township Engineer's inspection report of March 4th, 2020. Is there a second?
And I will second that. The motion and second. Any questions? Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. Is that everything? Thank you.
That's everything. Yes.
Okay, financial administrator.
Good evening.
Balance sheet and budget status.
All right, so as far as revenues are concerned, we're currently at 96.74% of revenues collected at 10/31/2021. For the month of November, we have collected another $223,000. So currently, we are over 100% collected as far as revenue. We're officially over budget on revenue collections at this point in the year. Expenses paid through October 31st are at 82.49% of budget. Both the police and the non-uniform municipal contributions have been paid in full. Total revenues are at $5,559,000. Total expenses are at $5,055,000 with revenues over expenses of $504,000 at 10/31/2021. We have no update yet on the from the U.S. Treasury on the American Rescue Plan interim final rules, so there's still questions up in the air on what that money can be spent on. The 2022 budget was posted on the township website on Friday, November 5th, and it is the intention to adopt the 2022 budget at the first meeting in December. I've also participated in a few webinars over the last 2 days, and there's been some talk about the economy. They're dubbing this time as the Great Resignation, meaning that a lot of people in the baby boomer generation who previously thought that they were going to retire later have decided to retire now and not come back after, their COVID leaves or whatever. So jobs are getting very hard to fill. I just wanted to make you aware of that. The chief spoke about his interviews, how few applicants he had, so we may at some point have to consider some sort of incentive to get good candidates for the 3 police positions that we'll have to hire in 2022.
Okay, any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Judy, on your status report, page 2, it says that traffic signals and signs is 157% of the budget.
Yes.
Maybe I should ask the board what, you get fancy signs for streets, or what happened?
Well, those are the CM high invoices. Initially, our plan was to have the road crew do some of that work, but we found that they didn't have time to do that work, so we ended up contracting those services out and catching up on that work because it was behind. Catching up on that work actually made it over budget. It also includes all of the electricity costs for the traffic lights that go into that budget.
CMI,
Yes,
they usually do the traffic lights.
that's correct.
They
That's
have
in
2
that,
road signs.
that's in that budget.
So,
There was, to your question, there were several maintenance calls where they came out, and there was additional charges on them. I don't think it nowhere near goes up to the overage on the budget, but it was still unanticipated costs.
well, I understand there's maintenance, but I mean, I'm sitting here looking at Ron Wise, and he's in the road crew down on Lally, and those guys are usually $1,000 or $1,500. You have to have them out there a whole lot of times to go way over that.
I think part of that, well, I know when I came on, there was maintenance work that was supposed to be scheduled in 2020 that wasn't done. And then the reinspection in 2021 added to those, so there was sort of a one-time big jump in costs to do the repairs that weren't done last year to bring everything up to speed. That was a big part of that.
All right. On page 5, under recreation fund, 174% over budget. That has to do with the skate park?
No, I don't believe so. The skate park was paid out of the recreation
That's what I
fund.
thought.
I believe that this is because we had quite a few trees removed in 2021. There was quite a few trees cut down, the ash trees at the different parks and that type of thing. I would say that probably accounts for most of the budget overage on that line.
Then you had the big Stony Point, the playground.
That was also in the recreation fund. So yeah, you would need to look at that fund to see those big capital improvement expenses. But I think what's in the general fund in the recreation budget would probably be mostly the ash trees that were taken down. And then there's also the regular mowing and that type of thing, but I don't believe that was over budget.
Okay, and I had a question on page 12, but you've already answered that. You still don't have a list of what you're allowed to spend the money that the federal government gives. Like CARES Act or whatever. I know
Yes.
there's certain things you can and can't do.
That's correct, yes.
We just don't, I said, now you personally, the township doesn't have a list of what those items are.
We do have some items in the budget. So we do have money budgeted for 2022 to spend.
How's this
Mostly,
money? out of this 500 and some thousand?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
So what we put in the budget is mostly for, we did buy some laptop computers to make it easier for employees to work from home if that situation would come up again. We have some money in there for record retention improvements, to digitize some of our records, to clean up our archives, that type of thing.
Also on the generator update, that was
generator update.
designated ARPA funds.
For the barrel?
No,
For the
township
township
building. Yeah, did we ever get that study back yet, Mike?
It was supposed to come this week, but it didn't come yet. So.
We might be addressing that next meeting.
And then there's sure to be a budget for stormwater improvements, water and sewer quality improvements, that type of
So Doug,
That would be through the water and sewer authority, though, so we don't know the
Stormwater.
Stormwater.
Right.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
so the items that are in the budget for the CARES Act are the items that we believe the CARES Act will cover in high confidence. But we still, to answer your question directly, we still do not have a clear directive from the federal government over what items are going to be covered or not covered.
And we're not alone.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you're one of many. We're one of many.
Yeah.
Judy, while I have you, on your status report, I'm looking here and there's pages number 6, 8, 9, and 14 are missing. I don't even, what are they, do you know?
Those are funds that we've closed, like we had that community recreation fund that was closed. I don't include the pension plans in this packet. Those are what the missing pages are.
Thank you.
And I think we have been, it was discussed in one of the earlier meetings, trying to add the more detailed part. We have been distributing here, but we do put on the website. So for this, prior to this meeting, I believe, because Judy's here, if there's any questions about that. So you can keep looking at the website and see the more detailed version of it. It's one of the things that we thought we could do without having to print out all that paper.
And I bring a copy with me of the detail if you want to see it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, both of you.
Okay, Roadmaster report.
Hey, good evening. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right, just an update, the bathroom at the highway shed, bathroom install has started and is in the process. This project will be done by the end of 2021. Road crew has done the following for the bathroom renovations: demo of the previous structure, saw cutting the floor for new plumbing, excavating the trench for new plumbing, digging the hole for the new loading tank outside of the shop, backfilling the hole where the new loading tank was installed following plumbing and electrical hookup, and concreting the floor once the new plumbing was set by the contractor in the inside of the building. Looking over my report here, I'm just going to highlight a few items. For wintertime, road crew is continuing going over all mechanical equipment for winter season. Spring and summer, kind of look out November 4th, 2021, Heather Woods roof roll and walk through. Roadmaster met with Beckon Engineering, Township Manager, and members of the site project to look over any repairs that need to be made in preparation of paving phase 2 and 3. This will be done in the spring or summer of 2022. Fall season, road crew has created swale on Denver Road, recreated swale on Denver Road as well as Garden Spot Road, near the railroad tracks. We had some issues with these two areas with water ponding on the roadway previously. And kind of just piggybacking off of what Mike said, road crew has plans of completing the Reamstown Road project the beginning of December. This will consist of a new M-top inlet, 20-foot section of pipe, as well as the DWN wall installed at 206 North Reamstown Road. All these supplies are at the highway shed and ready to be installed. A couple of major items here, just kind of a repeat. Road crew has been working short staff since the beginning of September due to a staff injury. And then basically last item that I want to share tonight is Roadmaster wants to thank the entire road crew for the way they've been adapting and stepping up with all COVID-19 stuff going on, as well as working short staff. I greatly appreciate the effort and the job that has been getting done by all crew members. And then last thing on my thing tonight is I need an approval or a motion for a sub-panel upgrade to our electrical panel out at the highway shed. The existing main panel is outdated. There's no room to install breakers for the needed circuits for the bathroom. The contractor was out yesterday, and Wednesday, and we had gone over this. So I'm just looking for a motion to get this approval, basically to get this sub-panel put in and to not hold up that project and get the electrical stuff basically up to date and safe for the building out there.
Hey Brad, it's RC. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
This is a 100 amp service only to a commercial building. Shouldn't that be, has that always been 100 amps or shouldn't that be a 200 amp service there?
So they are the main panel. So you should have two upgrades or two sheets in front of you. One is for a main panel upgrade, and the other one's for a 60 amp sub panel upgrade. He's basically just needing a few more spaces to put in. I'm not asking for the main. He sent two upgrades quotes over because he was in the process of trying to find a sub panel that he was able to use, but with the shortage of everything, he was not able to find it. So is why he sent the main one over as well as a sub panel. The reason that, he contacted me today and said that he did find a sub panel that we are able to use. But like I said, nothing out there. There's no more room in that panel that we currently have. And there's wires everywhere. So I'm looking basically for an approval for a sub panel to be put in, basically to give us a few more spaces. The sub panel will give us 20 spaces. And he was looking for the Federal Pacific breaker, which he found, which would allow basically to make it a lot safer and up to code for what is needed out there at our building.
Right, Brett. So, but here's my question. I don't know if you know this answer. He's got 100 amps going into that building, and then all he's doing is put a sub panel for 60 amps running off the 100 amps. Okay? I do not feel comfortable with that building having a 100 amp service, personally.
Okay, and I did talk to Ed from zoning and kind of just let him know that this panel is way outdated, and he basically said to, submit whatever was being, the contractor had submitted these to me. I can give you more information. In the meantime, I'm just basically looking for some kind of approval or the steps that I need to take to get this up to code or get this up to speed.
Right. So let me give you a quick example off the top of my head. If you guys are running a power washer and you're running a compressor, depending on the size of the compressor, the motor on the compressor, you're going to trip 100 amps and the lights on in that building. What I'd like to see right now, because I'd like to see really is someone to look at that building and find out, number one, is 100 amps sufficient for that type of commercial building? Because I believe it's not. It's probably going to need 200 amp service.
Okay.
Okay? Then I'd like to see that first.
Okay.
Because with a 200 amp service, they probably won't need the sub panel. Because that sub panel is still going to run off the 200 amps. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, correct. Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm in total agreement with you there. Rather than put a small panel in conjunction with what's there. Let's get the whole system right at this time.
Okay.
We maybe get, like Victoria Electric, somebody like that to come out, can maybe contact, just because he usually responds pretty quickly, but get an electrician to come out and take a look at that.
Yep.
Okay.
So you want to fix it as opposed to badly. Fix it right.
Have you had that problem out there to date when you're running different things, or in the past, have things shut off as you were?
I have not noticed anything since I've started there in losing power, or we haven't come across any issues like that with that 100 amp.
Okay.
And I mean, I will get him in there as soon as possible to take a look at that, and I will get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, and that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the roadmaster? Yes, sir.
Just a comment, Chad Weaver. On an electrical thing to keep his project moving, they can replace that panel and upgrade the service later if he puts in a bigger space panel to keep that moving. So they can put a 42 space panel in and keep moving and replace everything and upgrade the service later, so that does not hold him up.
Right.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thanks. Okay, treasurer's report, list of bills.
Treasurer's report, total general fund of $159,775.94. Any questions on that? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
Okay, and we have a total electric payment of payroll of $85,364.74. That is for a pay period of 10/24 to 11/6, and the third quarter 2021 payroll taxes. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
And we have a total light fund of $13,430.94. And I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any questions? Make a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
That is tonight's report.
Thank you. Okay, whole business for discussion. Did we have any, Mike?
I don't think.
Okay. Anyone? I don't think we have any new business or information. Okay. Public comments for non-agenda items. Again, please just state your names so it helps with Lisa in the meeting minutes. Yes, sir.
Doug Macklin. I should have done this when I had Judy on the floor here. I was looking through the proposed budget, and I can't find anything having to do with the SRO. Can someone tell me what the cost of the SRO is? School resource officer.
I have a file. I think I have a file. Sorry, Doug, bear with me.
That's all right. I couldn't find it. I looked through it a couple times.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I believe he's just in with other police officers.
It probably is, but somebody has to know how much we're paying. I'm not arguing. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread to have somebody down there. I'd just like to know the cost.
Yeah, and there is a breakdown, I know that was provided, that separated out what that cost would be and what the potential other contributions would be. So that has been broken down this summer, I know.
Has there been a contribution by West Cocalico to cover their piece of the SRO? And has Adamstown contributed?
No.
No to both?
No to both, yeah.
Can Mr. Mitchell help with that? He's plenty to 10 people.
I think they're their own independent bodies, sir.
They are, but you for a number of years used to sit in those meetings.
As I said, I can't influence their decisions, sir.
Oh, but Jeff, you could as a supervisor, and I'm looking at you and our chief, because Craig's gonna be going off in the sunset here. You guys, have you even talked to them about helping your pay? Is it simple yes or no answer?
In the previous regional meeting, there was some discussion about it.
Some discussion. Have you followed up on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand where everybody's coming from,
Who's everybody?
all the entities involved.
But you didn't answer the question.
I think that's where I'll leave it.
Pardon?
I think that's where I'll leave it.
You're listen, people around here elected you to be a supervisor, they expect you to do the job. You keep passing stuff off. You just sat up there today and told us you don't get reports, and it was clearly stated that those reports are available. You don't make yourself available. You know, I think it's terrible that, first of all, I feel terrible for West Cocalico and Adamstown that they don't think any more of their kids that they won't contribute money. I think that's deplorable. That's my own personal opinion. But as two supervisors, you guys ought to be proud beating those people. I don't have a problem funding it, but it would be easier if we'd all show some cooperation. You ran on a platform, so to speak, of you're going to unite the community. And you're going to bring West Cocalico and Adamstown back into the police force. I heard that. I heard that from more than one person, that you were out spewing it. And now you can't answer. You've been in this job 2 years, and you haven't done a thing. And this is your typical answer. You just sit there and don't say a thing. Well, you don't have an answer. I would suggest that you get on your horse and you go see J.J. Stoner, the chairman of the West Cocalico, and get an answer why they won't join this thing. And go down to Randy Good or whoever's the president of Borough Council down in Adamstown, the same thing. Don't they think any more of their kids than that?
Doug, to answer your original question, I just handed Judy my laptop. That's the file we have. Go ahead, Judy.
So this is the calculation that we do when we request reimbursement from the school district. Wages and overtime are $102,375 with benefits included. After netting out the contribution that the officer makes to his pension and also the amount of state aid we receive for this particular officer, wages and benefits are $153,081. We also take out overtime because overtime is usually attributed to when this officer assists with regular police matters. So we don't request reimbursement for that. That brings the total down to $142,000. The school district contributes 60%. So that's $85,236 in reimbursement we get. So net to the township is $56,824.
56?
824.
Thank you.
That's including benefits. That's
Yes.
not just salary. That's including benefits.
And the formula used to be, I haven't been there for a couple of years, but it used to be based on population of the school by entity. Like West Cocalico has, if there's 10,000 kids there, and West has 3,000, they get 30% of the bill or whatever, something to that. Is that still the way it works?
That, yes, it does.
Okay, so,
the-
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So the way, so just for clarification, so it's a 40% cost share for the municipalities, the 4 municipalities. East Cocalico is 41.72%. West Cocalico is 28.05%. Denver Borough is 21.35%. And Adamstown Borough is 8.88%. And yes, that formula, Doug, is the original formula based off of population.
So who pays the Adamstown and West Cocalico pieces when those 2 municipalities don't pay? Does that come to our township here? Or does Denver have to pick up a chunk of that also?
No, that would be absorbed by the township.
So East Cocalico Township is paying for 2 other townships slacking off. Mr. Mitchell, come on, man, you gotta help us out. They're your buddies.
Would a simpler solution, Mr. Buckles, be the school district just cover it all? That way the West Cocalico and the Adamstown taxpayers through their school taxes would be paying for it.
Well, then why don't you go try and sell that to the school district? You can't sell it to West.
I can tell you to go to the school board meeting and say the same thing, sir.
You're the treasurer. And I said, you ran on the platform, tonight, you're gonna bring these guys back, and you haven't done any of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against this at all. I sound like I am, I'm not. I've told you before, I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The school loves it. They like having someone there that is readily available.
And I think that's a universal thought.
Well, I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Lorenzo Benora. I had a question on the budget for next year under management. I see a township manager salary for $120,000. Is that you, Mike?
No, that's not.
What's that then?
That would be the separation agreement with the former township manager.
Okay, so my question to the board is, I've been coming to the meetings for about a year now, and we're all saying about transparency, correct? Why can't that be reworded different for the people in the public? I mean, that's why I honestly ran. I want transparency across the board for everybody.
What would you like reworded?
You know, you could have reworded exactly what Mike said. Township manager salary. Then at the bottom, there's another one, contract manager services.
You want to answer that as a treasurer?
So there's two manager things there, so I'm trying to get more transparency to what is the $120,000. For anyone that doesn't know what Mike just said, that's not here and goes online and use the budget, they could be thinking Mike got a raise or something for next year.
So you're saying just adding the word former or previous would be enough to be a suggestion?
That's transparent enough, I think. Correct.
How much longer does that former manager get paid off? Is that 1 year or 2?
That's the last thing. Yeah, that's the last one.
Last one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So,
So you're all right with that, with modifying and just putting?
so how's that going to affect the chart of accounts?
I need to pay that through payroll, which means I need to issue a W-2. And to keep those records, I need to make sure that any accounts that are going to be on the W-2s in total add up to match. So that's why it's in that account. That's why it's budgeted in that account. Mike's salary is not paid through our payroll. That's a check we write out to Denver Borough. So that's why he's lower in the chart of accounts listed as a contracted service. So that's why they're budgeted that way, but I can certainly add, former employee or
It's fine that
previous
it's
manager
in
or
that,
something.
it's
like
fine that it's under that management thing. I'm just saying the wording, in my
Right.
opinion, should say former.
Okay,
Because
that I can add, I
we're
just need
speaking
to
of
leave it
someone
in
that's
that.
no longer here,
Right.
not Mike.
Right.
That's my opinion. Thank you.
I think I saw another. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, RC, this is for you. So based on the phone call message that we had gotten a couple weeks ago, we just prefer to have any discussions or information in the public forum.
Oh, you're right, when I called you
Yeah.
back. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because you had given me your phone number, and I was
Right.
just returning your phone number as a courtesy.
No, that's not how it went down.
So, yeah, so with just
That's
any,
not how it went down. Sorry, you asked for Ron's number months and months and months ago when you found out that we went to the same college, and you wanted to call Ron about an aviation question about for your son.
Yep.
And then we get this unsolicited phone call like 2 weeks ago that we had township, that you had a free weekend to discuss township business with us. So it was a little.
Yeah, it was just, any answer, any questions and updates you might have. Okay.
yeah, we just prefer
No worries.
public forum.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, the next Township Supervisor meeting will be held on Thursday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. in person and via Zoom. It'll be held in the Township Building on Hill Road. We have no executive sessions. No need for one tonight. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. And I'll second.
A motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.